1 year ago, I showed you guys the super thin rack mount gaming systems that I was planning to build for my kids. Then a few months ago, I showed you guys the V2 that solved a lot of the problems with the initial prototype, but ended up introducing some of its own. Today, it reaches its final form, and I have some really cool stuff to show you guys, including these awesome PCIe risers from C-Pain Custom PCB Designs, this low-profile EK water cooling that makes the whole thing so slim, and a solution for powering them on and off that actually works this time. I hope. Seriously, this latest version of the design is so cool, I think some of you might want to follow along from home. Check this out. The GPU, to deal with the signaling issues with our optical display port, goes in the front now. That's awesome. Like this awesome segue to our sponsor.
Build Redux. Many people find building a PC to be a real hassle, and to build Redux, well, that just ain't right. So they want to do the heavy lifting for you with vast configuration options and competitive pricing versus building a PC yourself. Kick your feet up, relax, and check out Build Redux at the link below.
The frustrating thing about our last design is how close it was to being game ready. Everything fit in the 1U, and we even showed it working at the end of the video, with great temperatures, I might add. But it had an Achilles heel, this. I'm not even saying the quality is bad. They might have been great, but we needed these to get from where the GPU was located in the front of the case to where it needs to plug in the back. And every time you add a connection, you add some loss. This, combined with the fact that we're using active optical DisplayPort cables in the walls, meant that the monitors just weren't lighting up reliably. Under normal circumstances, the solution would be simple. Why don't you just put the GPU in the back exactly where it's supposed to go? But because this is a 1U slimline chassis, that would really limit the types of GPUs that we could install in it. Not to mention interfere with plugging anything into the PCIe expansion slots that are now all blocked. As for what else has changed, the answer is pretty much everything. Starting with the motherboard. We went with a Prime B650M A2 from ASUS. And the main reason that we chose it, aside from that it fits in our slim 1U profile without needing modifications to the I/O like we've had to do in the past, is that it's a CSM board, which is short for Corporate Stable Model. These motherboards might not be marketed for gaming, but they're every bit as capable, and they enjoy an extended product support lifecycle, as well as not wasting any money on things like RGB lights, so they're quite affordable. Each of these is about 140 bucks. Then, for CPU, we've gone with the Ryzen 5 7600X. Look, I'm not gonna argue that this entire project isn't completely off the rails, like 5 1U gaming systems liquid cooled by a pool. But for the individual systems themselves, I didn't want to go way overkill. I mean, my kids are using these things.
Thanks.
So this is a mixture of bang for the buck performance today with 6 high-speed Zen 4 cores and a platform that I can expect to get long-term upgrades, at least for a generation, maybe 2. Cooling is where things get really interesting though. See, under normal circumstances, you'd have a CPU water block, plus fittings, plus a tubing bend radius that makes the whole assembly about this high. That's not an option if you want to build a 1U system. So EK has these amazing AM5 1U specific blocks. This is the WB AM5 rack nickel plus inox, which basically means it's a nickel plated base, it's rack friendly using these G1/8 style fittings, and it has a stainless steel top. Little tip I haven't talked about before is if you're ever not sure if you've put enough thermal compound on, there's a super quick and easy way to check. Just mount the cooler, which with an LTT screwdriver shouldn't take you very long. Then just pop it off and check. As long as you've got full or near complete coverage of the integrated heat spreader, you're good to go. There was an old myth that if you reapplied it, there would be bubbles underneath it or something like that, but that is simply not true. The mounting pressure is way too high for that. Boy, has it ever gotten easier choosing system memory these days. A year ago, even 6 months ago, there were these huge trade-offs for price to performance, but now, this 32 gig kit of DDR5 6000 CL30 was under $100. It's like, sheesh. So it's pretty much just a matter of picking something that will work optimally with your platform, in our case, AMD, so we do want low latency DDR 6000. Then, something that will physically fit so your case and your cooler don't interfere with them. One of the downsides of a CSM board is that it's not going to have high-end features like 10 gig networking. But as you can see, we left an extra slot in our I/O. InnoDisk of all people. makes a 10 gig network card that goes in an M.2 slot. All you gotta do is plug it in, run this little extendo cable, and then put this wherever you want. We're using the same in-win cases as before with the NVMe backplane stripped out of them, but we've made a couple of small modifications. The IO shield obviously has to be our custom 3D printed one, courtesy of Antoine from the lab. We've added 3D printed brackets for power supply mounting. Yeah, nice. And these screaming fans have been replaced by adorable little 40mm Noctuas, because we're not really cooling that much with them, just what? RAM, chipset, VRMs, the major heat generating components, the CPU and GPU, all that's gonna be pulled out by the water. I've gotten ahead of myself a little bit here though. To keep the system low profile, this case uses these super tiny motherboard standoffs that need to be hand installed before you can actually put the board in. Man, Antoine outdid himself with all these 3D printed brackets and accessories and stuff. That is solid for the power supply. These power supplies are super cool. 850 watts in this tiny form factor. And what's really wild is they're not even that loud. Boom, just goes in like that. Awesome.
I'm doing the most important and fun job ever, which is prepping the whips, as I'm calling it, that are gonna come off of the manifold in the rack and connect our computers to the water cooling system. It's just we have to make 12 of them now, and well, Linus can make the other ones in the future, I think. Fitting on one side, quick disconnect on the other, pops into the back of the computer.
I heard that, you know. They always do this.
Yeah, that's fine.
They finish it just enough to shoot the conclusion of the video and then leave me to finish it on my weekend.
Exactly.
What I need is to get water into this system. And for that, we are gonna use a PCI bracket pass-through majig. What we do is we take both sides, we put these G1/4 adapter fittings in them, little something like that. Then we mount this right here and boom, we can run tubes to the inside, we can run tubes to the outside. Can you install all of those?
Yeah. I dropped my pencil.
Yeah, that's fine. Also, that is a pen, so.
No, it's not. It's a mechanical pencil.
Oh, all right.
Oh, you just got corrected.
Something I can do while she works on that. You're done, hey?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I need to put in my SSD. These are so overkill, Jake.
Yeah, so I asked Icron for some temporary SSDs and they were like, well, you know, if we're gonna send them to you, it'd be cool if they were Gen 5. And I was like, okay.
These are 4 terabyte
That one is-
T700s. Yes, it's 4 terabytes. We were telling the people these are reasonable systems,
It's a
Jake.
placeholder. We're gonna net boot them later.
I guess this is going in here now, but it definitely doesn't match the theme of the rest of the build. Our GPUs, for example, I bought used on eBay for reasons that I will explain a little bit later. SSD is probably worth more than my GPU. I sort of forgot how these worked. You have to take this whole thing apart. Let me show you how this works. A PCI slot doesn't, uh-oh.
I see it.
Oh wow, seriously? That little post like that? Oh my goodness. Just use your magnet, okay, or use your tiny little fingers, okay, or use your magnet. Use your magnet on your screwdriver. Without screwing anything up, we put this post back in here. We get this O-ring back in here so it doesn't leak all over the inside of the computer. There we go, just like that. And then you can see what happens is it takes these round openings and then it converts them into these slit openings that will fit in a PCI bracket. That's how we can use these as a pass-through. Neat, huh?
I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. You'll think it's neat when you're playing Minecraft on this. See, unlike the last time we built a computer for you as a video, you actually get to use this one and keep it.
Yay.
I kept the case in case she ever wants it again when she, like, I don't know, you never know. But,
Like pink anymore.
oh, why did you put it on your screwdriver
As
then?
much.
Yeah, as much.
Can I put in the screws, please?
Absolutely. I'm just going to put them in the right spot for you and then you can screw them in.
Which bit is it?
It's the,
This one?
yeah, that's right. Make sure you got the ratchet set the right way. Yep, there you go. Good job.
How come the bits aren't all the same and the shapes all the same on the screws?
That is a really good question. Sometimes it has to do with the cost. Slot ones, for example, are really cheap to manufacture, so that's why they use those. Sometimes it has to do with the different parts of the world that you might be in. Some types are more common in certain parts of the world and other types are more common in other parts of the world. Sometimes it has to do with we just didn't realize that there was a better way of doing it. So there's older standards and newer standards. And sometimes a really big one, for example, just doesn't fit on a really small part, so you need different sizes.
Yeah, but why can't they just be all the same shape?
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I realize I never mentioned what case we're using. This is an Inwin RS110, but you probably wouldn't recognize it because we stripped out all of the drive cages and the NVMe backplane. Normally you'd be able to put 10 NVMe drives in the front of it, but now it's going to be a GPU, and honestly, this piece is just for aesthetics. This doesn't hold anything. Oh, but what it does do is, here we go, clip into the other piece. There we go. So it should hold really nicely at the front.
What's that for?
This is so that you can use the computer way over there in the gaming room, but the computer itself, with all the noise and all the heat, can sit in the server room. Cool. And we don't get to see any of the indicator LEDs?
Nope.
Nope. All right.
So this is the computer instead of the laptop?
Yes, you're not going to have to use the laptops anymore. They're perfectly powerful for the games that these guys play, but I don't know what it is about laptops and just not wanting to be used as a desktop. They constantly stop working with the external monitor and they turn on their own internal display even though I tell them not to. They constantly go to sleep even though I told them don't do that even when you're closed. It's just been kind of a pain in the butt. These are kind of a fun choice for our GPUs. We went with RTX 3080s. It's a last gen GPU that is a great deal on eBay right now and is still great in terms of performance, but the specific ones we chose are XC3s from EVGA. And it just felt like this is gonna be my last chance to build an EVGA powered gaming system. I might as well take advantage of it. Also, because it's a last gen card, the blocks for these are kind of on clearance right now. So we were able to get a good deal on our water blocks.
Mountains.
Yes, mountains. For our fittings, we've gone with kind of an unusual choice. 1/4 inch barbs for the GPU. And the reasons for that are twofold. One, in such a space constrained system, it's a lot easier to deal with thinner tubing. And number two, remember how I showed you guys the G1/8 threading on the CPU blocks? You can't really get G1/8 fittings to 1/2 inch barbs because that wouldn't make any sense. So we're stuck with the small diameter tubing anyway. Whoa, no way. These are PCIe Gen 5?
Yeah, they're designed for Gen 5.
That is sick. I mean, this is only a Gen 4 card, so it doesn't really matter, but these are from C-Pain custom PCB designs, and basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a custom PCB design. On the card side, we've got a device adapter. This plugs in here. There's 6-pin PCIe power for the power that comes into the bottom of the board. Then these are MCIO connectors. This is like the new Gen 5 hotness for PCIe extension. Then on the other side, he's got this 1U compatible SlimSAS LP riser that he built for another client. He happened to have some PCBs kicking around, which worked out great for us. And finally, we've got these SlimSAS LP to MCIO cables that will theoretically give us PCIe Gen 4 even at, ooh, wow, that's really long, this kind of distance.
Quick PSA here. You might not have encountered PCIe signal strength issues if you've never run a riser, but like any signal, you can run into a myriad of problems the further that signal needs to travel. Back in the PCIe Gen 3 days, the spec included extra signal power to account for the use of risers, meaning that you could rest pretty easy even if you were using one. That headroom does not exist with PCIe Gen 4 and Gen 5, meaning we're entirely at the mercy of the motherboard manufacturer to leave enough extra signal at the slot, so the added loss from a riser still works with the GPU. In our case, we're limiting the amount of extra signal loss by using high quality adapters and cabling as our riser, but we're also using a less expensive motherboard, which despite its smaller size helping the situation a bit, uses lower quality components like through-hole soldered instead of surface mount PCIe slots, which can incur more loss than you'd see on a higher end board with better components. At worst, we'll have to manually set the PCIe slot to Gen 3 speeds in the BIOS, which isn't a huge deal given the use case. But it's important to keep in mind that if you have to use a riser with newer components, to plan accordingly. You can get around some of the signal limitations by adding a retimer that boosts the PCIe signal, but if the 300 post long level 1 text forum thread is anything to go by, your mileage may vary. So when possible, it's best to just not use a riser. We just don't have that luxury here.
Before we plug it in though, we need to get our GPU mounted, and this is kind of cool. You can see this piece at the front here. I just put the peel back on here because I realized otherwise it's gonna get mangled. Basically, it slips in on the bottom side, and then these are 3D printed out of, what'd you say it's 3D printed? TPU?
Yeah.
It's mushy. Okay, I think I got it. Let's do a test. Can you pull this out? Don't try that hard. Okay, good, that's good enough. Okay, it's in. As long as it doesn't get pushed in by just, inserting a DisplayPort cable, then we're good. Now, we can go ahead and run our connectors. Okay, these look very fragile. Do you think you can handle this?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I don't have backups, so.
Hey, good job. I believed in you. I completely believed in you. It was Jake who didn't believe in you.
Jake's a
Let's
bad
go like
guy.
this to Jake.
Jake's sad now.
My system is progressing super fast now, thanks to my big helper. Good job.
I'm not that big.
No, but you're a big help. While she works on getting the tubing tightened, by the way, we're using this awesome stuff from EK that it would probably last longer than the frickin' system. What is this for, like fuel lines?
You see how it says Gates on there?
Yeah.
That's an automotive brand, so.
Okay, something that I need to change on the CPU block is that we don't really have room to have the inlet and the outlet come in this side. So I've got to pull off these stop fittings and put them on the other side. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on and then you're gonna worm drive this on for me, okay, darling? You just gotta hold it with your left hand. There you go, while you screwed in with your right hand. Good job. One of the other changes I haven't mentioned yet is the power supplies that we're using to go from 12 volt to the 24 volt that these Icron docks take. These ended up being a little bit big for the new configuration. So we've gone with these super compact ones from THLY.
Some company on Amazon.
Sure, some company on Amazon. Thanks, Jake. All we had to do was take these handy dandy little splicer majigs that they come with and then just put whatever leads we wanted on them. So we've got SATA power to one side, and then we've got the barrel jack that goes into the back of the Icron. In terms of putting this on, I guess Velcro?
That's what we've been doing.
All right. Did we have to go to like a small shop to get these extensions or something?
We got them from MX today.
Oh, from Memory Express. You're gonna plug this end in like this. Well, you're gonna try. Wait, uh-oh. Has anyone actually tried these yet? These are 8-pin EPS to PCIe
No
adapters.
way. What? No, they're not. There's no way.
No, it says extension, but it doesn't have the gap.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, wait, what? What the heck? It's right on this one, or right on that part of that one.
The top left is square.
Oh, the holes are wrong. I'm talking about like where the cables go. Where the cables go is right.
Okay. So as long as we just mash it in there, then we're good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is right.
Okay, so we just need an X-Acto knife. I'll grab one. So all we've got to do is take this little guide right here that is part of the PCIe connector, but not part of the 8-pin EPS connector. Shave it off. Try not to slice open our finger.
No cutting towards yourself. It's the rule.
I know, you're right. The point is, do as I say, not as I do. Don't cut towards yourself. Then this should go in there like that. Hey. All right, no problem. Well, small problem. This is not really locked in place anymore for some reason. Oh wow, these are awful.
Well, thanks, Memex.
All I need to do now is get power to my fans, which is just gonna go a little something like that. Power to my PCIe device adapter. Ugh. Okay, that's in really good there. And then I guess I actually do need to put the fans in. I really hope I accounted for the space I need for these. And they just kind of clip in like what?
The bottom clips in first.
Like that? Wait, these are backwards. There's your problem.
Yeah.
Do they go on this side?
No.
How the?
This is backwards. Oh no.
Are you kidding me?
Oh no.
This is in backwards?
Linus Sebastian, are you kidding me?
Okay, this is a minor problem.
Oh.
Flip the
Yeah, I can just flip the fans around. That might be less work.
That's less work. Absolutely less work.
Yeah, the tubing.
Classic Linus moment.
I could have sworn I looked at the other one before I did. Yeah.
Not
this
very
is-
closely.
Okay. Yeah. All right, these are coming out. What do you think, David? Is this gonna just go and everything's gonna be fine?
Yeah.
I still don't understand how these go in.
Other side.
On the other side.
Oh, because they go on that. Still trying to put them in the other side. It's not perfect. Not by a long shot. Hey, all right, enough. Come on. But it's in. I just have to run this USB cable to the back of the Icron dock. Little something like that. Sure. That seems fine. Then it runs all the way over here to the other side and then out the back like this. You know what? We are gonna leave a lot of that inside. Oh, wow. Yeah, we're gonna find a spot for that later. And then this, runs to one of the USB 3 ports. My system is just about done. All I need is the fiber module for the back of the Icron dock, but mine is actually keeping a fiber optic cable safe over in the server room, so I will wait until I take it over there.
Everything looks good. There's no water in it right now, so we're just gonna turn it on until we see something and then stop.
There's no pump to run dry because the pump and the radiator are both external, so we're not worried about that either. Okay, she's on. She's off.
Well, this one's not happy.
Oh good, we're off to a great start.
Let's try another one.
I blame the child who helped me.
Typical adult. Let's try the original system because we know that that one works.
Wait, roll. Remember the polarity matters on the power switches on these cases?
Oh, yeah.
Yup. Here we go. Is my power on the other side?
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What way does it go?
I forgot about that. So brown towards the I/O. Completely forgot about that. I was ready to lose another half an hour of my life to that.
Brown towards the oh, so what, you unplugged it and then just like clicked it with a piece of metal and it worked? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's a server case thing of some sort. I don't know.
Okay, it posts. Shut it off.
Is that
it
it?
posts.
It's
It
already,
posts.
oh,
Yeah, it's
hey,
working.
heck yeah.
Shut it off.
It's not even warm at all. It's fine. Let's get the GPU tested then.
Okay. Oh, that's funny. So it was pressing the power button and then holding it. Yeah, I get it. That's why it wasn't turning on. Ha ha ha. Very funny. It just posted with the GPU in. Does it detect the GPU? Wow, the CPU is at 85 degrees.
You know what would actually help better? Where's that water bowl? I'm just going to put some water on it. Move your hand quickly.
Wow, this is a really strange idea.
It's evaporative cooling.
This is the peak idea we had here. Put water on the computer.
Is there any way to get water into it?
If you have a piece of tube and a funnel.
I do not take responsibility for this. Jake decided
You know
to
what? It doesn't need it.
update the BIOS while it didn't have any water running through it. Okay. So we're manually, this is basically the equivalent of computer CPR. We're manually circulating the heart right now. The block is much cooler than before. I think this is actually...
This is not the stupidest thing I've done today. It's pretty high up there though.
It did finish. Yeah, it's rebooting
Probably
now.
updating the RGB BIOS now.
BIOS is updating LED firmware. Yep, can confirm.
Great. Put your finger in the stream. Is it warm?
Probably.
Probably feels nice.
Oh yeah, that's definitely warm. It's about the temperature of pee. Okay, what is that? Is that wet?
Oh yeah, that's wet.
Okay, off. Oh, for sakes. Really? Hopefully it's around and not on the board. Do you want to blow in the other side? Put all those microbes in there, brother.
It's like a Renaissance painting.
Awesome.
It doesn't. Do you see it in there at all?
It's hard to tell from here. These gotta come off.
Oh,
Come off first.
of course they do.
Everything's gotta come off. Okay, I'm heading out.
Yeah.
Adventure.
I see no ring. You know what? Actually, the way that this design is designed, I don't think any water got on the GPU. There is a little in there, but there's a big space between the back of the, you see? There's a big gap there. That being said, the reason that this happened, these EK Pro terminal kits that give you the 45-degree angle, they're usually squared off. We had to shave these down to make them fit on these blocks, and I think this one didn't get shaved quite enough so that it wouldn't properly clamp down on that side. So if I file this a bit more and then tighten it back up, it should be fine. We fixed our GPU leak. We needed to add the O-rings at the terminal. Whoopsie on that one. I installed the drivers. It's detected, but does it work? Woo! Nice. Keep putting water in there. Should we game? Our CPU temperature reports as 45 degrees. That's not bad, Colin. It's also only 22 watts, so that's actually not that great, Colin. Go faster. If you squeeze it harder, does it go down? Yeah, it does. We're down to 40. 39. Come on. 38. How much water you got left? You got enough for a whole game of BattleBit? Wow! I haven't played this yet, but it seems like this would be a lot of fun. I died, but it works. Let's check our temps. Let's see if Colin's been doing a good job. 51 degrees on the CPU. I imagine this is not a very hard to run game. What about our GPU? 42 degrees.
Oh, got him. Oh, got him. Got him. Just like you're gonna get this segue to our sponsor.
Rocket Money. They want to help you save more and spend less in a time when literally everything is a subscription service. Like, I can't be expected to remember that I signed up for the monthly payment plan at Taco Bell. I had a craving for gorditas one time. Rocket Money can safely find your recurring bills and cancel the ones you don't use with just a tap. They'll also help negotiate bills in instances where you may have been overpaying the entire time. And Rocket Money has built-in credit monitoring too. This gordita got the Gordita Supreme treatment. So start saving for free with over 5 million other users today. Visit rocketmoney.com/LTT or click the link below.
The system works. I don't know about the other 4, but we'll find out in the next part where we actually hook them all up to the water cooling. Now that we have Windows installed on this one, we can clone it. Get subscribed, like the video if you liked it, and if you want something else to watch, watch the last time we tried to make this computer work. It was sad, but this is happy.